Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the unsung hero of all good design. It's this fundamental process, the one that makes some apps feel totally effortless, while others, well, they just make you want to scream. Let's dive in.
Oh, you've been there, right? We all have. Just furiously tapping at a screen that won't cooperate, trying to navigate a website that makes absolutely no sense. It's that feeling of pure technological rage.
Yep, that's it. The reason your favorite app just gets you while that other one makes you want to throw your phone across the room, it almost always comes down to this one critical step. So what is this magic process anyway? Well, at its heart, it's actually incredibly simple. It's all about watching real people try to use things. Okay, so the fancy term for it is usability testing. But really, all that means is you're figuring out if a product is any good by watching the people it's actually for try to use it. The whole point is to answer one simple question. Is this thing actually easy to use or not? Now, here's a really, really important distinction. This is not market research. We're not asking people what they think they want. Usability testing is all about watching what people do. You don't ask, hey, do you like the color of that button? Instead, you give them a task and see if they can even find the button in the first place. It's all about actions, not just opinions. And why do companies pour time and money into this? Because the payoff is absolutely huge. It goes way beyond just making things less frustrating for you and me. So the benefits are massive. First off, it saves a ton of money by catching big problems early before they become really expensive to fix. It also helps designers and engineers combat their own biases. That little voice that says, of course this makes sense, I built it. By watching real users, you make sure the product actually works for them, including people with different abilities. And at the end of the day, all of this means happier customers and a much stronger brand. And this quote from Taylor Palmer at Range just nails it. If people can't find what they're looking for or understand how to use your product, your business is going to have a bad time. It's that simple. Okay, so that's the why. Now let's get into the how. What does this whole process actually look like? It's basically a 4-step loop. First, you plan everything out. What do you want to learn? Then, you find participants who are actually like your real users. Step 3 is the main event. You give them tasks to do, and you just watch quietly. And finally, you take everything you saw, analyze it, figure out what's broken, and go back to the drawing board to fix it. Then, you do it all over again. And believe it or not, this is not a new idea. It's been evolving right alongside our tech. It really started back in the 1940s, testing complex military hardware, like airplane cockpits, where a confusing button could be a life-or-death mistake. Fast forward to the 80s with the first personal computers, and suddenly we had to figure out how people used a mouse. By the 90s, you had these dedicated labs, and now it's all about testing websites and apps, often with people all over the world, right from their own home. As testing evolved, the methods did too. Today, it mostly falls into 2 camps. You've got moderated testing, which is kind of like having a co-pilot. There's a researcher right there, guiding you and asking questions. Then you've got unmoderated testing, which is more like a solo flight. The person just completes the tasks on their own, while software records what they're doing. But watching humans, whether they're in the room with you or 1,000 miles away, has its limits. And that brings us to the future. So what's next? Well, AI is definitely knocking on the door. So here's the thing. Traditional testing is amazing, but it can be slow, it can be expensive, and it's really, really hard to do with, say, 10,000 people. And this is exactly the kind of problem that researchers think AI might be able to solve. To figure out just how AI could help, a team of researchers did a massive deep dive. They started by casting this huge net, pulling in every study they could find on the topic. And they ended up with this staggering number, over 3,000 publications. But they didn't want just any old study. They put all of that research through this super rigorous filter, kind of like a funnel. They tossed out duplicates, irrelevant papers, and anything that wasn't high quality, all to find the real gems. And after all that filtering, they were left with just 155 studies. Now, these papers, they represent the absolute cutting edge, the most important, most innovative work being done on using AI for usability. So what did they find? Well, this chart shows that the single biggest focus of all this research, by a long shot, is something called usability attribute evaluation. I know, it sounds super technical, but it breaks down into some really cool ideas. Basically, it means people are building AI tools that can do some incredible things. They can automatically measure how efficient a design is. Some can even detect a user's emotions, like if they're feeling stressed or engaged just based on how they're using the product. Others can instantly check a new design against hundreds of established best practices, or just act as a superpowered assistant to a human researcher, helping them spot problems way faster than ever before. And all of this leads to a huge, fascinating question for the future. As these AI tools get better and better at understanding us, will they move beyond just testing designs? Could they one day actually create the perfect user experience? One that's dynamically and uniquely tailored just for you?